I would like to invite Shruti Kashyap, CIO of Hindustan Unilever, and then Mohit Singhal, who's VP Technology for Target, and the panel moderator Subramaniam MS, Head of Category Marketing and Analytics at Big Basket. Mani, I would let you take the stage and start the session.
Thank you, Shivam. Thanks for those brief introductions. I'm just going to take a couple of minutes to set the context for the panel discussion that is going to unfold with help from Manish and Shruti. I am by design a person that works with numbers, and so I'm going to use some data just to set the context. About 5.3 billion people around the world use a mobile phone. Right? This is data as of April 2021. Just to put that in perspective, that's 67% or 2/3 of the world's population. 4.7 billion people have internet access. So that's 60% of the world's population. And lastly, 4.3 billion people are active social media users. So that's 55% of the world's population. So you're talking very large numbers globally and from an Indian context as well. Internet usage is growing at about 8% per year, which means when I sort of round it up, 1 million people every day are becoming new users of the internet. What does this mean for the retail industry? The information that I just shared tells us that more shoppers are getting access to very powerful technologies that is made possible because of expanding internet access. What is this doing for them? Shoppers are now able to discover products, compare prices, learn about the products that they want to buy through ratings, reviews, community feedback, and use all of this to make decisions on buying products using these technologies. Over the years, the retail industry has reinvented itself to make the best use of emerging technologies. Back in the 80s and 90s, integrated cold chains. In the early 2000s, using computing capabilities to improve forecasting, stocking, distribution, self-service checkouts, EDI, online integration with suppliers, distributors are all examples of capabilities the retail industry developed leveraging technologies of the past. So with all that said, what's the story today? In the last decade, we've seen dramatic technological breakthroughs emerge rapidly. Artificial intelligence, blockchain, virtual or augmented reality, e-commerce, cloud computing, and whatnot. Right? The topic for today, given all this background, is how are these and other technologies reshaping the retail industry? How is and how will the retail industry embrace, adapt, or adopt these technologies? To talk about these themes, I have two illustrious panel members with me today. Shruti Kashyap, she's the CIO for Hindustan Unilever and the head of IT for South Asia. Shruti has been with Unilever for over 15 years, doing a variety of technology roles. She's led the digital transformation programs, large digital transformation programs globally at Unilever. And most recently, she led the GSK merger, India's largest FMCG merger. She's passionate about creating business value through technology and experimenting with new tech and experiences. It's great to have you today, Shruti. And would you like to say a few words before I move on to introduce Mohit?
A lot, Mani. It's a pleasure to be here and discuss this really exciting space. Like you rightly said, both modern retail as well as traditional retail are seeing a disruption with the advent of technology and with COVID. And I look forward to the discussion. Thanks.
Thank you, Shruti. Let me introduce Mohit, a person with a lot of achievements in his professional history. Mohit is Vice President of Bangalore-based Target in India, which is an extension of the US retailer Target's headquarter operations. Mohit leads some of the most innovative and transformational technology work that's been done in the last 2-3 years in retail. He's instrumental in launching industry-leading products in the digital space and therefore making Target a market leader. He leads a large team of engineers both in India and in the US who will build products that enable the primary transactional functions of commerce across the enterprise. Some examples include his team's work that makes Target the only retailer in the world to provide guests any number of shopping options such as online, order pickup, drive up, same-day delivery, or opt for a combination of shopping options, making Target the most convenient place to shop for Target's guests. His work brings the best of technology, architecture, and product thinking to the fore. Mohit spent over a decade in the e-commerce retail industry working on cutting-edge digital products. His experience spans warehouse management systems, order management systems, search and checkout, which are the backbone for any retailer today. He has diverse experience in the banking and healthcare industries. He received his bachelor's degree in engineering from NIT Allahabad. That's an impressive background, Mohit, and I can't think of any two other panelists other than Shruti and you who could be here talking about how technologies are going to reshape the retail industry. But quick 30-second thoughts from you, Mohit.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mani. And thank you, Shruti, for having me here as part of this panel discussion. Now, I was really blown away with the numbers you just shared in the beginning of your the discussion, and gives a good perspective of where we are headed. Right? And over the last decade, the industry has evolved so much, but the last 18 months have been completely different. So I look forward for the discussion where we discuss how technology is shaping and reshaping the retail of future.
Very, very pertinent point that you bring up, Mohit. Life in the last 18 months, for us as individuals, as well as professionals and for organizations, is dramatically transformed. The landscape on which we've been working has changed as well. And so we'll get to that in just a short while. That's not a topic that we can sort of move away from. I'm going to start with some initial thoughts, right? The retail technology landscape, as I said earlier, has seen dramatic developments. And what sets out the last decade from the previous decades is that these transformations, these dramatic technological developments have come in rapidly, right? Some of these are pervasive adoption of cloud computing, shifting towards an omni-channel strategy for retailers who needed to quickly adopt digital capabilities, personalization of customer experience using customer identification technologies, requiring all retailers to begin to think about how to treat each customer as a unique individual, right? Use of augmented reality, virtual reality to enhance the shopping experience, particularly in the last 18 months, letting people experience online shopping without disrupting their experience. Use of AI to engage customers in the form of chatbots, shopping assistants, voice commerce, and whatnot, right? So given all of this, Shruti, I want to hear from you. What are global trends that you're observing with all these different technologies that are coming through? And what do these mean for retailers and consumers in India particularly, right? Very keen to hear your thoughts, Shruti.
Sure, thanks, Mani. So I think, I think everybody, right from retailers to consumers, were experimenting with a lot of these technologies pre-COVID. And what happened post-COVID was a real acceleration in terms of adoption. And, both at a retailer side and at a consumer side, people have become much more comfortable to actually pick up technologies that they would traditionally have probably avoided. Yeah. And I just look at, sort of both ends of the spectrum. And I'm obviously, being from Unilever, much closer to the traditional retail side. But I'll give you my thoughts around. So if you look at high-end retail, and like you rightly said, there's so much happening in the space of, AR, VR. So when we look at a Lakme, for Lakme to sell cosmetics, virtual try-on is a must now, right? Because you can no longer walk up into a mall and try your lipstick and see what that shade is. And therefore, integration of such capabilities have become a must. We've seen the adoption that, the likes of a Pepperfry, etc., have done, where you can place the furniture in your room and see if the dimensions fit or not. We've seen, luxury retail chains like Burberry look at virtual try-ons through their apps and so on. And so that's really the high end of the section where retailers can afford to invest in a lot of these technologies. The interesting change that I also saw was that there are a lot of these small stores who don't have the monies to do a D2C channel, or they don't have the monies to invest in all of this AR, VR, etc. They have pivoted towards social commerce. So, there are the number of stores that I get messages from saying, this is the latest catalog of our spring collection. just WhatsApp us what you want to buy. It's quite interesting. And these are all small businesses who I may have gone to them maybe once to pick up something, but they've also sort of adopted this whole, stream of social commerce. And I see that as sort of the beginning, the way WeChat is a fully integrated solution in China where you can buy, pay, shop, do everything on that one platform. I see that India will also head that way sometime soon. And right now, obviously, it's limited in terms of what WhatsApp can do. But that day is not far where you will have sort of one integrated solution at play, where you're also ordering your taxi and also sort of, buying your groceries and also then shopping for your clothes online. And so that's really one end of the spectrum for me, which has changed, dramatically. The other end, which is, where I'm closer to, is the traditional retail space. And, it's really the Kirana store. And multiple times it has been said that it's the end of the Kirana store. When the modern trade guys came in, we said, there's going to be so much competition, it's going to be the end. When e-commerce came in, we said that it's going to be the end. And when COVID came in, we said it's going to be the end. But the reality is that the Kirana store has survived and it's here to stay, right? And for us, what we were doing in that whole space was just the traditional way. A salesman would walk up to the store, take the order, go back to our distributor, punch in that order. 3 days later, the delivery would come and so on. And obviously with the lockdowns, getting those feet on street itself was impossible. And therefore it became mandatory for our business to survive, to have a solution where this retailer can order online. And what started as a, very simple ordering sort of a platform very soon evolved into a, end-to-end one-stop shop for the retailer, where not only can he order, he can do his payments online, he can track the status of his delivery. And we are now getting to the next level where we are doing, hyper personalization for a retailer, recommending the packs that, he can sell, which he may not be stocking right now, comparing him to other retailers, giving him offers and coupons depending on what the sales trends for the day, for the week, for the month are, and so on. Now, this kind of customization, in 2 years back, we wouldn't probably have thought of in a pre-COVID world, but this is, sort of now the norm for us. And, this used to be a project for us, which was a good to have. And COVID really made it a must have. And the kind of acceleration we saw, we have now more than 600,000 retailers using this platform. This has become sort of the mainstay for us, really, to keep our business running, because nobody could have predicted the second wave. Again, we had the same issue of not having enough salesmen on the ground. And again, it was this whole platform that came to the rescue in terms of how we do business through the traditional retail channel. And that is the reason that every other player, whether it's an Amazon or a Jio, now wants to, invest into this space, because we know Kirana stores are not going away. And we also know that, for us to enable the retailer, technology is going to be a crucial and critical unlock. So I'll probably stop there and, get some thoughts from you, Mani and Mohit.
Thank you, Shruti. Some excellent takeaways. You talked about how, retailers were experimenting even before the pandemic wave, and the pandemic has sort of accelerated the adoption of these, right? And you gave us some great examples of small businesses adopting digital catalogs. Amazing, right? Who would have thought that would happen in the last 18 months? And you brought up a great point about Kiranas. What you said is absolutely true. They are going to continue to be the mainstay of retail. With all the news that is still happening, e-commerce still makes up only about 4% to 5% of all retail. Organized is no more than 20%. And so Kiranas are here to stay, and they are embracing technology. You brought up brilliant points about personalization of the B2B experience, right? For the retailer with whom you're working. We've all talked about personalization for B2C, but this is amazing to hear. And what you're saying essentially is necessity is the mother of invention, innovation. That's what has happened in the last 18 months. Fabulous, takeaways, Shruti. I'm going to let Mohit comment, given his global experience. Mohit, your thoughts?
Sure, thank you. And I couldn't agree more on the fact that how brick and mortar is so critical for all the retailers, right? And there was a time where there was a lot of human try that the online or the e-commerce is going to take over, and brick and mortar probably will have a hard time. And it's just not this same story anymore, right? Retailers have found brick and mortar to be still the bread and butter, and not in different ways, right? So instead of just fulfilling a guest who's walking in, by the way, we call our customers as guests. Instead of just fulfilling a guest walking in, now the brick and mortars are being used for fulfilling online orders. But anyway, from a trends perspective, there are a number of trends I've observed in the last few years, and some have had a dramatic shift in the last 18 months, and which I believe will continue for some years to come. Right, and the first one which I could think about, mind you, this is not the new one in last 18 months. This is something which has evolved over a period of years. The guests want to be able to shop anywhere and anyhow, right? So guests value convenience and ease of shopping, and they want to have multiple options and flexibility to shop anywhere they want to, whether it is online, whether it is on their app, or whether they just want to walk into the store or a brick mortar, store. And they want to have a common integrated shopping experience. So they don't, what I've observed is they don't consider a store different from an online versus an app. They consider one retailer as one entity, right? So the retailers are also moving towards giving a unified experience, irrespective of the modes of shopping. So that's the first trend I'm observing. The second trend is the preference for the flexible fulfillment options. Right? So we are seeing much more number of guests make use of same-day services, whether it is same-day delivery or it is a pickup or a driver. In 2020, our growth in same-day services, which is, by the way, same-day delivery, using Shipt, which we acquired a few years back, whether it is a pickup order or a drive-up order, we will call all of these as same-day services, grew by 235%. And this preference continues to grow in the US, even when they are coming back to the normalcy. And this year, Q1, we saw a 90% growth in the same-day services on top of 278% growth of Q1 of last year. So you can imagine the growth in the same-day services which are coming in. The other one which I'm noticing, again, in the flexible fulfillment options, is the speed of delivery used to be a thing, right? So how fast can I deliver? 2-day shipping, 1-day shipping, 2-hour shipping. Now that is slowly getting converted into convenience. Guests want their stuff when they want it, not when I can deliver it to them. And it is a big shift which we are seeing across globally. And the third one is value. Guests are more than ever going to look for value when they shop, and therefore the pricing of the product plays an important role. And this really resonates well with the Target tagline, right, which is expect more, pay less. And value can be in terms of offers, deals. It can be in terms of loyalty programs. And Target has the second largest loyalty program in the US, and we just started. So overall, what does it mean for a retailer? Right? So, and I was listening to the previous session as well. Guest centricity. Now there is a strong focus on the guest centricity. It is all about what our guests need rather than what we have to offer to them. Right? So that is becoming super critical, and guests are also becoming very, very comfortable in alternate means of shopping. Right? So they can order online, they can walk into the store, they want things delivered at home. I mean, convenience is the key. The second one is the flexibility and agility. At Target, we strongly believe that technology drives the business. It is not just an enabler, but an accelerator. And there is a need to build a tech organization which is flexible and in technology and infrastructure that can easily change and adapt to the changing needs of our guests. Right? And all the aspects of the business need to be nimble enough to cater to what guests want, not what the retailer has to offer. So that's something which retailers will need to kind of pivot as they move forward. And the last one is the investment in technology. right? Again, there's a very strong need to build and invest in technology platforms which can enable the shopping of future. And I call it, the future of retail tech. As an example, in March 2020, when US was under lockdown, stay-at-home orders, we saw a huge rush in the US market to buy essentials. And given the pandemic, no one was going out in stores, right? So we saw a huge, massive growth in our online business. The number of orders we were seeing in the first quarter or early March, April timeframe of 2020 was much, much more than what we used to see in our holiday period, which is the Thanksgiving timeframe, right? So that is usually the biggest order volume time for any of the US retailers. And in March 2020 to maybe April, May 2020, for continuous months, we saw such a surge in the orders. And having invested in technology much before 2020 helped us enable to manage all that traffic without breaking a sweat. So key thing was that we were invested in technology much before the pandemic broke out, right? And so that is something which I feel that retailers should be moving into. As a second example, we built enterprise checkout as a platform. Now, this is a common platform which offers the guests common experiences or a unified experiences, whether they're shopping online, whether they're shopping in the store, right? And that's what is enabling us to provide a differential and an elevated experience for all of our guests. So net, technology is at the center and as the foundation of a retail business as we get into the future.
Thanks, Mohit. Very clear thoughts. You talked about delivering a unified experience. Customers are not going to see your online channel as being different from your offline channel, right? So you want to deliver a unified experience. And you talked about value, speed, etc. But you brought up a couple of things. One is, as technologies reshape the industry, retailers need to develop technological capabilities to, ahead of the curve to deliver a superior experience to customers, right? And you also brought up the point that the power equation is shifting more towards customers. Customers now have the power when it comes to the relationship between suppliers, retailers, and customers. The insights are so valuable. I mean, I would love for us to continue to talk. This mandates a 1 hour session, but we are running short on time. We have just about 2 to 3 minutes left, and I'm going to use this opportunity to quickly get some thoughts. Again, 1 to 2 minutes each, Mohit and Shruti. One of the trends that has emerged in the last 18 months is contactless retail, right? And through a customer's shopping journey, they expect contactless payment, contactless, buying, contactless delivery. So what are trends that you're seeing, and what are suggestions that you are offering to Indian retailers and Indian customers? Starting with you, Mohit, quick 1 to 2 minutes, and then to you, Shruti.
Sure. Now, contactless shopping has become a new buzzword, right? If you look at the underlying reason, it's all about ease, convenience, flexibility, and most important, safety, given the current situation, right? That is why the contactless shopping is becoming such a popular term. And as you rightly said, it spans not just from in humanless interaction. It spans from the journey where guests are looking for relevant items, adding to cart, checkout, and then actually getting it delivered to their home or carrying it out of the store. So no more does the guest want to interact with a salesperson to buy that apparel or to buy that electronic gadget. So I think you rightly said there is just a lot of focus for the guest to get away from any interaction. And one of the key trends which have become very popular in Target is Drive Up. Now, this is a service which we offered to our guests where they can buy or they can order online or on apps and then pick up the order at the storefront sitting in their car, right? So they don't even have to get out of the car. And in 2020, we saw 600% growth in our Drive Up business. And mind you, this is not something which we launched in 2020. We had it for last 2 years, right? So we had it in 2019 also. But as the trends shifted because of the safety, because of convenience and the flexibility. The number of orders we sold in whole of 2019, we sold more orders or more units in Q1 of 2020. And since then, we've invested a lot in the drive up, services. We've included our assortment, we've included grocery, we've included adult bev, and we've also invested in making drive up even more safe and contactless. Right now, by allowing the guest to indicate their preference. Now, do they want the bags in the boot? Do they want it in the back seat? Do they want it on the right next to the driver, or where are they parked? So to your point, if a guest wants to get into the store, we have self-checkout lanes available, and then we are also working on having our guests do a checkout by their own personal devices. So that's something which is coming in future. So you're right, a lot of trends in contactless shopping in many different perspectives.
Thanks, Mohit. Very helpful. And Shruti, what are your observations? What are you seeing as global trends when it comes to contactless retail?
Sure. So I think because Mohit has covered part of the global aspect, I'll probably talk more about India. And I'm sure Mani, since you're so comfortable with numbers, you would have seen that number that India for the first time ranked the highest in terms of real-time online payments, which was 25 billion odd transactions, much higher than China's 15 billion and US's 10 billion, etc. And we live in a world where even the fruit seller on the street now has a QR code to make that payment. So for me, the big shift in India has been around digital payments. And that's very clearly continuing to grow. The other couple of areas where I feel that we need to make some investments, keeping in mind the fact that ultimately contactless is all about keeping the consumer safe and making it more comfortable for them. If you look at the retail side, we are looking into things like voice ordering, right? Why should a retailer even have to open an app and click on something? And can we make them comfortable with just talking speaking what is the order that he wants? And then basic stuff like, when we onboard some of these Kirana stores, instead of doing physical verification, etc., can we then look at video KYC solutions and stuff like that? So for me, the whole payments piece is, the biggest one as far as India is concerned. And how do we build an ecosystem around, making it really easy for the retailer, whether it's, video-based stuff, voice ordering, WhatsApp-based ordering, and so on. That's going to essentially help us make that leap, especially on the traditional retail side.
Thank you, Shruti. Very helpful thoughts on what you're seeing emerge: digital payments, customer centricity. It looks like we are running out of time. Just one question, and that's to you, Shruti. This is from the audience. As a company, were you able to roll out the India pandemic retail models to Southeast Asia as is, or did you have to evolve the model separately for each country in Southeast Asia?
So we definitely had to evolve the model a fair bit, especially because, the way the distribution is set up is very different. India, of course, is a very distribution intensive market, and the number of distributors we have is much higher. Also, sort of basic stuff like payments, modeling, etc., is very different in each market. So we have a globally set up e-route to market solution now for emerging markets, which runs across Africa and Southeast Asia. But the one we use in India is different.
Got it. Thanks, Shruti. Very crisp, very concise, to the point response. Thanks, Mohit. Thanks, Shruti. What I heard is, retailers have embraced technological changes. It helped them become powerful intermediaries between suppliers and customers. But what you've seen are dramatic technological changes in the last 18 months. It's shifting the equation, tilting the balance in favor of customers. Mohit, you pointed out that winners in this are going to be people that operate like technologists more than retailers. And Shruti, what you brought up is embracing change, adopting digital technologies, and through that building loyalty and developing customer centricity. I'm hoping for the audience, this discussion helped them develop a mental model on how to leverage technologies as retailers and reshape their own strategy to win customers. Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you, Mohit and Shruti. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mani. Thank you, Mohit. Great
Back to you,
discussion.
Shruti.